Welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at how to create an API using ChatGPT and then how to use this API in our own projects. Okay, so before we start, I have here my index.html. So I created already a folder, and then I have these three files. I have the index, which is blank. I have style, which is blank, and I also have app.js, which is blank. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect them to my application, starting with JavaScript app.js, and then on top here I'm just going to link my CSS. Okay, that is done. And I've also started this project on live server, so if you go online you can see it is here. I'm having it live on port 500. Okay, so the first thing before we get crazy with creating our own API, let's first try to consume a simple API so that we understand how the whole concept of API works. So an API, if you have not seen one, we have used some APIs in the previous videos. You can go to this API dot. You can see this one. I think we can go to this place. I don't know if we could go like, I don't know if it is .co. Okay, just type in like free JSON. Let me just say dummyjson.com. So this is like a sample of the API, how the API looks, and we have used this API before in some videos. Just check in the description, you will find some places where we have used some API and even fetched from the API. So you can see the API is just whereby you have like a list of products. So if for instance I go to this link here, you can see they give you products, and these products are in this JSON. Okay, so you can see they give you a bunch of this, and this is typically an API endpoint, okay, which gives us like all products, and this is what it is doing. Okay, so that is cool. So what we want is to actually consume one API right now. I'm not going to use the one with very many things like this. I want you to get the concept I'm going to show you in this lesson. We are going to use this simple one. It's called, for the starters, we are going to use this one, and let me try to refresh. Okay, I wanted it to be like that. So by the way, if you are wondering how I'm managing to see my API data in this format, there is a Google Chrome extension called, I think it is JSON formatter. So you can just say JSON formatter, Chrome extension, JSON formatter or JSON viewer. I don't know if it is like that. Yeah, so just go and install this Chrome extension. Is called JSON formatter, so that you can view your APIs in this. This is a better view than the other one. Okay, this is a better view. So you can just install this JSON formatter Chrome, and it can help you also do that. And I can add it to Chrome. You can see how they are telling you here. They show you how the data is going to look like. So that is great. So after you have added that, let's go back to our business. So here, this API endpoint here, it is giving us a random code. Okay, I'm just using this one because we want just to get this code that we are going to get from this API. We display it on our interface. Okay, so this would be cool. Okay, so I would have to fetch this one from this API, and then I get this code which says, like, for instance, fame usually comes to those who are thinking about something else. So you can just see I want to get like this quote, and then we display it on our application. So for the starters, I'm just going to go to in my index, and let me just put here maybe a container. Let me just create I would use the body anyways. No, let me just put a container. Okay, so inside the container, I'm just going to put a quote, so you can just say p.quote, and I put here a class of quote, and you can even put an ID, but I just say here I have rorem 20, so this is my quote. So let me just view it here in browser. Okay, so let's just work on it for a minute. I'm just going to go here in CSS, and then just say margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing to be border box. Okay, and then I'm just going to go to my container. Okay, so the container, let me first give the body. So let me give it a background color, which is like this one. Maybe let me just look for this color. Okay, let's keep it simple for now. Let's call it this color, and then to this container, let me also give it a background color of white. Okay, and then this one, let me give it a height of maybe actually a minimum height, and just first give it a height of 100 VH, and this let me center this container, so I'm just going to say display flex, align items center, and justify content center. Okay, so if you look at that, you can see our quote is in the center, and for the quote, I'm just going to give here dot quote, and let's say we give it some padding. Okay, top and bottom, let's say 2 rem, and on the sides, let me say 3 rem. Okay, just like that, and you can see it here. And I'm just going to go ahead, try to make this come out, and I can just add, I don't know if it is necessary, I can add a box shadow, and you can go to this link here, and for 93 these beautiful beautiful CSS box shadows. Let's get a simple one right now. I'm not going to pick a complicated. Let me just simply click on one of those ones, it copies, and let's give it to our quote. Just paste it there, and the quote now will stand out like so. So this is cool. Okay, I have a quote here, and I can just go ahead and also give it a max width so that it breaks on some line. So just give it not a min width, but actually a max width, and let me give it of 600 pixels. Okay, so this one will break it to go on a new line, so it is looking much better. And let me also increase the font size, and let's make it to be maybe 28 pixels, and let's see that. Okay, so this is our quote, and it is much better. So what we want is now is we get this quote here from this API. So the API endpoint, I'm just going to put in the description below, but it's api.quotable.io stock random. That is the API endpoint. So it gives us a random quote. Okay, actually you can see they gave it to us here. So I'm just going, of course, to copy this API endpoint. I go to my JavaScript. So the first thing always in JavaScript, you can first always alert if the JavaScript. I've seen many people starting working on their JavaScript projects and they forget even to link the JavaScript file. Okay, so for the start, you can even always just try to, just like you can alert to confirm that your JavaScript is working. Okay, and you can see the alert is here, which is okay now. So let's start. So want to fetch that. So the first thing I'm just going to do is, let me just say const API. So we have to save our API endpoint in this API. I'm just going to paste it there. Okay, as simple as that. Then from there, I'm just going to create a function which fetches. I'm just going to create this function which fetches. So you can just say function fetch. Okay, fetch quote. So this is fetching a quote. In fact, you say fetch data, because in the future we can use it for any other data. Okay, fetch data. Now we are going to use async. So we can just first say try catch. Okay, is going to have this, and here we can just first of all say console.log. Something went wrong. Something. I'm capturing the error. Something went wrong, and of course you can also put the error itself. So that is the error handling. So in the try catch block, so here we want to fetch the quote. Okay, and then we display this quote. So fetch and display. We want to fetch and display the quote. Okay, so that is good. So want to fetch and display the quote. We already have our API endpoint. So the first thing, make this this function async, since we are going to use async-await. So I'm just going to say make this one async by adding this keyword async before it, and then here we can just say const, and we can first get the response back from the API. So response is equal to await. So we await fetch, and then we fetch from our API. Okay, so what we get back is a response, and this response, we can get this response with, we save it in data. So you can just say const data is equal to response dot JSON. So we convert, by the way, those people who don't know why we always convert this, now if you look at this API, what they are giving back, I want you to look at this content. You see this content is in double quotes. So generally this is not an object. Okay, this data is always in what you call BSON. Okay, this is a BSON format. So we want to first convert this response, like this data here, we first convert it into JSON. Okay, so now get this data from this response, and it is await. So we also, this is a synchronous task. So we await. So at this point here, we should be having the data. So let me say console.log, and I'm just say data. Okay, and then come down here, run this function. So fetch data. So just run the function like that, and now let's go to our project, go to the console, like that. So let's go here and see the console. We expect to have our data, and you can even, by the way, put the spinner thing that we have been putting in the other projects. Okay, so let's see. Nothing is happening. Let me first see one thing. Fetch data. So we have this function being called down here. We also have this. So await fetch API, and then data await response.json. We have the data here. I think everything should be working. Let me just go back. Okay, so finally we have our quote here. Okay, so if you look at this data here, you can see we are interested in this content. And normally take your time and look at the data you are having. Okay, the data will not be always the same. So look at the stuff here, look at the API, and understand very well what you are getting back from the API. So you can see we get back the author, and you can see it has already converted it into an object. So this .json is converting it into this object, removing these double quotes. If you look at here, we have this thing which are like double quotes, double quote tag, double quote author tag. Now you see here we don't have them. You see the author tag, the content, they don't have these double quotes on them, and that is the purpose of this .json. Okay, that is cool. So now what I want is to get this quote. So I want to get this quote, and you can see the quote lives inside this content. Okay, I want you to remember very well, if you have an object, so let's say this is a sample object called maybe a person. So if I have const person is equal to an object, and this object has keys, for instance has name John. Okay, so if I want to access anything here, if I want to access this name inside this one, will be saying person dot, okay, dot name, for instance. This is, so we use the dot notation, or you can also use this this notation of the bracket notation, but the most common one is this, the dot notation. Okay, so we want to access this key you are seeing here. Sorry, it has refreshed. We have to wait for a second for it to load. Okay, so you can see now here, so I have this quote, and it lives inside the content here. So first of all, we can just come back here. We have our quote now lives on data.content. So if I say data.content, you will see now it will actually only put it is consoling only and only the quote itself. Okay, so now that is cool. What we want to do is first get this quote, which lives inside this quote. I'm just going to come here on top here. So const quote element, so this is going to be quote element, is equal to document dot query selector, and we can just get it from dot quote. You can always console.log confirm if it has selected it. So down here, I'm just going to get the generated quote, and I can just say quote element dot inner HTML, or I could just say dot text content is equal to data. Okay, and in fact you could even first save it into the quote. You could just first save into this data.content. You could first save it as a quote. If I wanted, I could just come here and say const quote. I could just come here and say quote is equal to data dot content. Remember, we looked at this. If I come back here, let me first put this one off. Now if I just simply put the quote here like so, go back here, you can see it is going to console.log the quote itself. Okay, you can see here, and this is the quote. So what we want is getting this element, which is this div, this paragraph, and we replace this text content with with our quote. So this one so is equal to quote. So this is cool. As simple as that, we should be having it working, and you can see I will not be with this very one. You can see here I will not be concerned at other means not knowing me. I will be concerned at my own 1, 2 of ability. So you can see we have this done precisely, getting it from here. So now let's take it one more step further and add a button so that it generates a quote when someone clicks a button. Okay, so how would we do that? I'm just going to go back to HTML. So down here I'm just going to add a button, and in fact let me first put a div for buttons. I might add very many buttons. So the first button I'm just going to add is the generate button. So I'm just a button, and I'm just going to give it hash generate. So this one is for generating the quote. Okay, and now I'm just going to say generate quote. Okay, and let's style this button. I'm just going to get here a button, and I can also give it a class. So btn. Okay, and this one is btn generate. In the future we can just differentiate them. So let me copy this the btn class, got styles, and let me just give some styles. So here I'm just going to give start with padding, top and bottom maybe 0.8 rem, and then here 2.5 rem. Background color I'm just going to give it black. Okay, and I don't know, that one I'm just going to put in the generate. Let me just leave that one. So also the color, let me just first leave it. Maybe for the color let me give it white. For the start let me give it white. Let me give it also border radius of maybe 5 pixels. You could even just go ahead and give, like, we make it super rounded. Let's just make it like 30 pixels. Okay, and for the btn generate, let me just give it background color black, and let's see what we have. Okay, this is not looking bad. Let's take the border off, so border none. Okay, and let me also make it cursor pointer. Okay, and then to the buttons, now to this div here, let me just give it first get it here. So the one which is holding the buttons, so dot buttons, I'm just first of all going to give it a margin top. Generally let me just give it a padding top and bottom maybe 3 rem. 2, let's make it 3 rem. Padding top and bottom, and on the sides let's keep it 0. Okay, so it is looking much better, and here let's just stick to 1 rem. And let's also give the button, let me give it font size. So font size to 25 pixels. And for the font of the whole thing, let me just come here. Let me just put font family. So font family, and let me use Ubuntu. So I'm just going to say Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Okay, let me see if it is going to work. Yeah, so that is cool. So I have my generate button. If you look it here, so what we want is if I click it, it should generate for me a new code. Okay, so how are we going to execute that? So on a click, so just simply first select this button. So I have it here with this generate this one. Okay, so we could just come here to our app and we select the button. So const generate btn is equal to document dot query selector, and what is it selecting here is the generate. Let's first confirm of the class. So just go here and confirm we are using actually the ID. So I'm just going to copy that ID generate, just change this one to hash, and this is the ID. Okay, so you can just come and console.log the button so that it confirm if it has been selected. Just copy this class, this, put there, and let's check it here in the console very fast. Okay, so if I check here in the console, you see we have the button. That is cool. So what we want on click, when we click the button, we want to generate the API, want to run this function. Okay, so what I simply do down here, I can just come here and I say generate btn. So generate btn dot add event listener. Okay, and the event listener is click, and then here we are going to put a function. We are going to run a function. Okay, we can run the function, and the function could be and as simple as just calling this one. I'm not going to write even another one, because what we want is when we click, it should just simply fetch data. Okay, so simply call here fetch data, as simple as that. Generate btn.add event listener click. When this one is clicked, we want it to fetch data, which is actually running this function here. So instead of self-running it here, we want to run it only when someone clicks. So I'm just going to go back to the app, and you can see we have the lorem ipsum now. Okay, and now if I say generate code, it actually generates a new one. You can see the word turns aside to let any man pass who know where he's going. So this is cool. You see, now I can generate the code from the API on a click, and simple one line, only one line of code, just this one for that button. So now I want to take it one more step further, and I want to add another button here for copy to the clipboard. Okay, it is a very good thing. Someone has gone to your website and he sees this code and he wants to share it. Instead of him selecting all this like this and then right click copy, we can actually copy it to the clipboard. You have seen many places where they put here copy to clipboard. Okay, and at this point we can even use an icon for copying. So let me go to the icons. I could use an SVG, I guess. I don't need to really hassle. I'm just going to go to hero icons. I'm just going to make the second button in my HTML. So I'm just going to have here another button, and this one, this button, I'm just going to give it hash copy. So just like that, copy, and this one I'm just going to say copy to clipboard. Okay, it will just have that, and I'm just going to put an icon for that case. So I want to come here and simply scroll down, and you can just put copy here, and we'll see if we have something. Yeah, so they normally use this one, okay, or this one. Any you would want to use copy clipboard document, just simply copy SVG. So I'm just going to go here inside. I'm just going to paste in this SVG. So don't mind about this SVG. If you don't like it, you can still go and use the box icons. I'm just going to use this one. Okay, now if we go back to our app, it is not being seen. Okay, we can first start by giving the color to this one. So let me just go to let me just give this one btn first. So give this one a class of btn, and then let's say btn copy. So this one is going to say btn copy. I'm just going to copy this btn copy so that I style it just in a second. Dot btn copy, like so. So let me first see how it looks right now, and you can see it is just here. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to first get this svg. So get this svg, and let's give it some width of maybe 40 pixels, and height, we can give it also height of 40 pixels. And let's first change the color here to maybe black. We'll change it later to gray, I guess. Okay, so it is just here, and it's already looking nice. I like it. So what we are going to do is I'm just going to first go to these buttons. I give them display flex. So we are in styles, to buttons, to give them some spacing here. Say display flex. We can line items center, and we just give a gap of 2 rem. Okay, like that. That one is really great. It is really great. And now let me just give the background color to this btn copy. So background color, let's make it hash, maybe ccc, and let's see now how it look like. Yeah, so right now it is actually more looking nice. Okay, so you can just even make it more nicer than this. Just go ahead and make it more nicer than that if you don't mind. Okay, if you don't mind. And here yeah, this is just good enough. So what I want is when I click it, it should copy this clipboard. Okay, that is the purpose of this one. Now I'm just going the first thing I'm just going to go back to my HTML. I want to select this button. Okay, this copy to clipboard button. So I'm just going to go back to JavaScript, and up here I'm just going to say const copy btn. Copy btn is equal to document dot query selector, and this query selector is going to take in hash copy. Okay, so we have our button here. So on a click, we want it to copy something. Okay, we want it to copy something. So I'm just going to come down here, and I say copy btn. So copy btn dot add event listener, and the event listener is a click. So dot click. Okay, and here we're going to have a function. Okay, a function like so, and this function for now, let's say console.log button clicked. So I want to see if the copy button has been clicked. I want to know if when I click it, if it is actually listening to that. So just inspect, not viewing the page source, right click and inspect. Okay, So right now, what if I click it? I want to go to console here. When I click, you can see copy button has been clicked. Okay, and we can also just do something, for instance, alert. Okay, so what we want is, for instance, to do at an alert, something to come on the screen saying it has been copied. And let me just go to the HTML here. Okay, and I'm just going to create a notification. I'm just going to create a notification, and I can put it really in the body, it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to say notification. Is going to be, can be a div, can be a paragraph, it doesn't matter. I just say here, it just be saying only some small stuff, copied to clipboard. And this one, let me just make it a P. Sorry, let me just make it a P, and I'm just going to put some content here, copied to the clipboard. Quote, actually, since this is a content, copied to clipboard. So want this one to clipboard like that, I guess, just like this. So this is going to be our notification. Now this notification, if we look at it right now, let's first see. So it is here. First of all, we don't want it to show like that. Let's first work on it. So I'm just going to get this notification, copy notification. First of all, I want to be able to put it wherever I want, and I'm just going to give it position absolute. So give it position absolute. Now, if you give it position absolute, you must go and look at its container, which is the body. We give it position relative. So to the body, simply go up here to the body and give it position relative. Okay, so with only that, it puts it somewhere here. So let's go ahead and try to position it. So first of all, let's give it like top maybe 10%, and let's give it maybe left maybe 40%. I don't know, so let's just see where it is going to be. Okay, it is here, and that position actually is very okay. So let me style it. So I'm just also going to give it you could just give it a background color of white. So let's give it a background color of white. Some padding. So I'm just going to give it padding top and bottom of 2 rem on top, and on the side let me also give it 3 rem, and let me also increase the font size maybe to 25 pixels. Let's first look at it. Okay, this is how it is looking like. Okay, so I'm just going also to give it this box shadow, and I'm just going to look for this one. Just give it a box shadow like so, and let's look at it. Okay, it is looking nice. Let me give it a border radius. So just give it border radius of like 10 pixels. It should be okay. Yep. Now, so what I want is, actually I would just give it the same could just give it this same box shadow like that, and let's look at how it looks now. Okay, it looks okay. So what I want is this one should only, so let's just display it nicely in the right corner there. So instead here, I'm just going to give it also right and this rate be maybe 10%. Okay, then top, and let me also reduce on this padding to 1 rem. This top, let's make it 5%. Okay, yeah, so you can see it is here. So what we want is, if I click this clipboard, this one should show up. Okay, so first of all, I can now hide it. Okay, let me hide it, and we know, for instance, right is 10%, but let's give it right of negative 100%. Let's first see that. If we give that, you see it has disappeared. Okay, so what we can do is we be bring back to 10% when we click this button. So before I hide it, I want to add one more thing to it. Let me still put 10%, and I want to put a border left. So I want to put a border left of 2 pixels solid, let me say blue, or you could even make it blue violet, I don't know. Okay, so that is nice. Let me just make it about 10. Let me see how it looks like. Yeah, so that is nice. Just like that. And then this one, make it 1.5, and we can make this one 3%. Okay, so this is really cool. So what I want is, I click this one should show up telling us content copied to clipboard, only that. So what I'm just going to do is, I'm just going to make it it's right to go and disappear. Okay, to go and disappear, and what we could just only give it is negative 100%. So we could create another class that brings it back. For instance, show notification. So you could just have this class of show notification, and the only thing it is doing is just putting back right to 10%. So you can see by default we are hiding it at negative 100%, and then we are showing it using this right 10%. So right now it is hidden. If I go back to HTML and I add this class, so let me just copy this class and go to HTML and paste it near on this class. So let's see, and you can see it has appeared. Okay, and let's give it a sort of transition so that it is smoothly coming back. So transition, okay, so transition, let's say all 0.5 seconds is okay. Let's give it like that, and you can see how it is diving in. Okay, you could even give it from top, but let's come from right like that. Okay, that is cool. So now how do we do that? So first of all, what we want is go back to a JavaScript. So on click here, when we click this copy, what we want to do is get this notification. So let's first select this notification. So get the notification on top here. So go on top here, select the notification. So const notification, const notification element is equal to document, dot query selector. Okay, dot query selector, and then here we are going to put this dot notification. So this is the notification element. So down here we just want to select it. So here simply get this notification element, okay, dot class list. So we just want to add the class list dot add and the class we are adding is the show notification. So here just simply add a class, and this class we are adding is this class here. So on a click, it simply should add that class there on this element. So if we do that, so by default it is going to be hidden, and that means let me remove this show notification like so. So when I click now, click it, and you see content copied to the clipboard. It is sliding in really nicely. Okay, so afterwards, by the way, like after some few seconds, I want it to disappear by itself. I don't want it to stay. So to do that, I'm just going to go back here inside here, and I will use set timeout. So set timeout, and this set timeout function, it takes in two things. It takes in a function, and then the time it will execute this function. So after like 3 seconds, let's make it at first 4 seconds. When this set timeout function is a function that will run, it will run this callback function inside after this time has elapsed. So 1 second is equal to 1000 milliseconds, and this time you see here is in milliseconds. Okay, so let's write a function here. So function, I could just write an arrow function, just simply like that. Okay, and then when it runs, what you want is just to get this notification and remove this. So instead of add, we want to remove this class after like these 4 seconds. We don't want it to be there forever. Okay, it should just add it here, and then it should just remove actually after some time. Okay, so if I just click now, it adds it, and then after some few seconds it just disappears again, which is very cool. Okay, now this is now for the notification, showing and hiding a notification. So here is showing and hiding a notification. So here in this functionality here is only hiding and showing notification. So let's just implement copying to the clipboard. So down here, copy to clipboard, to clipboard, and this one should come first before we even start showing that it has copied the text. It should first copy the text, then after copying the text, then we can show this notification. So now on top here, I'm just going to go ahead and copy. So how do you copy the clipboard? First of all, we must have the text we want to copy. So how do we get the text to copy? So here const text, let me say text to copy. So this is the text we are going to copy, and is equal to document. So you can get this document. No, actually you can get it from this quote. Remember, we want to copy this quote here. So we already have this quote selected up here. Remember, we have this quote selected. Where is it? Quote element is here. So you can just get quote element dot in dot get text content. So quote element dot text content. Okay, just as simple as that. And you can just go ahead and even let's print this one out, console.log text to copy, so that we are confirming that actually we have access to this text. Okay, so just go back. Let's generate the code. So you click on generate code and it generates it. And let me just go to inspect, go to console here, and let me click here, and you can see it says content copied, clicked, and then it also gives this text that it has picked from here. So this is cool. it is showing this text here. That means we have it. Now, how do we copy the text? So we have a navigator object. Okay, so this navigator, we can actually get there. So if you say navigator dot, you can see on the navigator we have a lot of things here, and one of them is actually Clipboard. You see it has a lot, languages, all these things. This navigator object we have on the window is really nice. Okay, so on this navigator we have Clipboard, so we have access to the Clipboard, and on this Clipboard there is one function that we always want to use, which is, now you see there is this read text, write, and then there is write text. So this function here is actually the one we want, and this function is actually an asynchronous task. Copying the data to the Clipboard is a task that takes some time. Okay, so when we do this, we have to wait. When you do navigator.clipboard.write text, now it takes in here the text you want to copy, which we already have text to copy. Just pass it in here like so. Now what we want is, when we want to listen for this event, when this copying is done, then we want to show our notification. Okay, so we just have to click, then we have this then. So we can actually do the then here, and then now at that point we can run a function. Okay, we can just run a function, and in this function, of course, we want to do all these things, showing and hiding the notification. You get the point? So like we want to, let me just repeat, I know guys, some of them are lost. So this navigator.clipboard, it has this function called write text. Now this is a synchronous task. Copying a text to the clipboard is a synchronous task. So we use the then to wait for it to finish copying to the clipboard. When it finished copying this text, we want to notify the user that the text is now already copied. He can use it anywhere else. Then we run here the then on this then we write this function, and this function is the one which is actually doing all these things. First of all, getting the notification, bringing it, and doing even hiding it. When that one is done, then it will be successful. But for some reason it can actually fail. So down here, I'm just going to say dot catch. So we can also catch. Okay, we can also catch, and it also takes in a function. And of course, this function has access to the error. And then we can just say console.log something went wrong. Something went wrong. And then we'll also print out the error why it did not manage to copy. Okay, so that is cool. So we have all this stuff. Now it's time we actually try them out. So let me first take off this console. So here we select our text we want to get on the clipboard, which is text to copy. I'm getting it from the quote itself here. You get this quote here. After getting that quote, now I send it to the navigator. I use navigator.clipboard to access actually this clipboard, which has this function write text. And write text is a synchronous task, and that's why we are waiting for it to finish copying. When it is done, then we go ahead and show our notification, and then after 4 seconds we hide it. Let's try to see. So the first step, let me just see, actually make this one, and I don't want it to do like that. So this is really nice. So the first step, generate the code by click on generate. So it will generate our code in a second. So just by the way, this is dependent on your internet. Sometimes So just click generate quote, and it seems like nothing is happening. Oh, it's actually working. So generate, it takes some time. So in times of change, learners inherit their earth while learners find themselves beautiful. So what you want is now to click on copy. So click content copied to clipboard. So what we want to see is really this content copied. So I'm just going to go down here and try to paste. Ctrl V. Wow, we have it, guys. We have it. This is really cool. You can see I can go to the browser here and I paste, and you see it is there. So congratulations if you have managed to do that. That is a very big functionality already out of the box. Now guys, take it one more step further. Okay, take it even one more step further. Now if you want actually to get this, I'm going to start with it in the next episode. Okay, so this, I don't want to make it more long than this, but thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. In the next video, I'm just going to work on how you can share this as a tweet, and then after that we are going to create our own actually API that is going to be giving us all these quotes. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.